When I sat down and you put stuff on a spreadsheet, it looks very simple. But when you actually get into the business and you start doing it, it's nothing like the spreadsheet at all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm very, very excited to share with you this story. Bo is a local gym owner here, but much more than that. That's how we connected. I'm a little bodybuilder, so I'm in the gyms a lot. Got a chance to get to know Bo, and he's just an amazing guy. So the opportunity to sit down with him, share his story, and to help all of us, including myself, learn a thing or two here about what it takes to be an entrepreneur and go through the grind to ultimately achieve the success that you envisioned and that you're moving towards. So without further ado, Bo, let's share. I would love to hear a little bit about you, man. What would you mind sharing a little bit about what you're currently doing and what it is that is your thing?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. So I grew up in Northwest Indiana here, third generation entrepreneur. I kind of started doing real estate back in the day when I was younger. That was always my dream. And then I bought the gyms. I've owned the gyms for 10 years now, and then kind of getting back into real estate. Market's a little crazy right now, but yeah, just trying to find any opportunity that makes sense and makes money.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Hmm.
So what led you here?
To the gyms or just in
Yeah.
general?
Where you are currently? Yeah. Gyms and the real estate. Yeah.
I think it's, the way I grew up. My grandfather was a business owner. My father's a business owner. So I've kind of grown up around that. And I was kind of saying that it's like bred into me because I can't imagine working for somebody else. I I've always pictured working for myself. I mean, I've worked for other people, right? But I just get more satisfaction out of working for myself. What got me into real estate is my uncle he owned a bunch of apartment buildings.
Hmm.
And I saw how he lived and I saw how he made passive income through this real estate. And I'm like, man, that's how I wanna that's how I wanna live. And so that was kind of my goal is to kind of live like him. But it takes a lot of capital to get into real estate, right? To buy commercial property. So I tried doing that for a while. That was kind of why I did home flipping for a while. I did foreclosures because I wanted to take that money and then reinvest it into more deals, which I did end up doing. What ended up happening is I actually used that money to buy the gyms. And so I bought the gyms in 2014. It was an opportunity because they were a local brand that was not doing too well. And so I came in and I turned those gyms around in less than a year. And so I've been operating them since 2014. And then when COVID hit, we kind of got slapped across the face from COVID, gym industry as a whole. And so I knew I needed to pivot a little bit. So I decided to go back towards real estate while I was doing the gyms. And that's kind of what I've been doing ever since is trying to find deals to buy into and raise capital to go out and find multifamily commercial real estate to buy, which is great because from an investment standpoint, it's a phenomenal investment. You get a lot of tax benefits. You get a great return, a better return than you're going to get out of the stock market with very low risk and very low tax liability. And so, yeah, we've just been chasing that for a few years now and still continuing to operate the gyms and also trying to get into other things that make money. I don't know. I like building things and then turning them around and then or building them up, whatever it might be from scratch. I don't know. I just like doing that kind of stuff.
That's cool, man. That's cool. A true serial entrepreneur, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Love it. That's very awesome. I love how you mentioned you pivoted. You were able to see a situation, 2020, a challenging situation, but you were able to take that as a blessing rather, right? That's awesome, man. What from that with the gyms? I love what you also said about, you came in, you turned everything around. You helped struggling place turn it around in a year. That's awesome, man. What was that like?
That was a challenge. That was a hard lesson because I had done a lot of projections on the business for the bank when I bought the bank
Mm.
and so or bought the business. And when I sat down and you put stuff on a spreadsheet, it looks very simple. But
Mm.
when you actually get into the business and you start doing it, it's nothing like the spreadsheet at all. And so all the projections that I had, you might as well just toss them in the garbage because the business ended up having, a fraction of the revenue that was stated. It had a fraction of the membership base that they stated. And so I ended up having to cash in my IRA to be able to keep everything going because I went out and I got an SBA loan to buy the business. I had used my life savings to buy it. And then when I closed on it and then found out that it was nowhere near performing what it was supposed to be performing, then I had to cash in my IRA as well. So it was a challenge, man. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of getting the right people in place, getting the right systems in place, getting the right marketing in place, and constantly reinvesting in the business. I mean, I'm even to this day, I did a massive renovation last year, but we're already still putting CapEx money into the business in
Mm.
2024, even though we did a massive renovation last year. So it's
Mm.
it's constantly trying to improve the facilities, the business, the marketing, the sales. I mean, it doesn't stop. It never stops.
It's just a giant wheel,
It is.
right?
It's a giant wheel. And then people say, oh, like I'll get my staff and I'll ask my staff because a lot of times I have younger kids working for me and I'll say, hey, what do you guys want to do? And like, I want to open a gym. I'm like, well, you're dumb. Don't open a gym. That's like the worst investment you could make. So
That's funny. Yeah, it's challenging nonetheless,
it's
definitely.
very challenging.
Def-
Yeah. It's a very, very hard business because it's not like it was in the 90s and the early 2000s where there was just a couple of brands, right? There was
Yeah,
Gold's Gym and just a couple brands.
yeah.
And now there's like a gym on every corner, right? I mean, you've got Anytime, you've got Planet, you've got the YMCA, you've got
Mm.
Orange Theory, F45, Base Camp. I mean, you name it, they're out there, you know?
Yeah, very true. It's so hard to differentiate yourself. You become so saturated in the market, it starts to
Yep.
become all this based on price, right? So
Yeah.
I'm curious, with that being said, what were some of the strategies that you used to create this brand, Grit, right? Because when I know getting introduced to it stood out, there was nothing like you in the whole area. Like I loved what you guys are doing. And coming from a bodybuilding standpoint, I love it so much. So I was drinking the Kool-Aid and swimming in it. But
Thanks, man.
but yeah, yeah. So what were some of the things that you did, like experienced and led you to really take that step to build and focus on the brand rather than just competing as just a commodity?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, when I first bought the gyms, I had bought into a franchise. I was actually a World Gym back in the day. My first thought process was I wanted to get away from the brand that it was because the brand that it was, it got dragged through the mud pretty bad through the local press.
Mm,
So I wanted to rebrand as a franchise to try and build some consumer confidence.
mm,
And whether that was a great idea or not, I don't know. So that's why I bought into the World Gym franchise. But that was a challenge in itself because World Gym puts off kind of the meathead connotation behind it. And when you're going up against Planet Fitness, that becomes very challenging because back in 2014, that's when Planet Fitness was really starting to take off, right? Planet Fitness down the road here, their first one, which is in Cherville,
mm.
right on 41, when they first opened that one, they grew that location to 14,000 members to that one location.
Wow.
Well, think about that. Let me give you some stats behind owning a gym. They say typically you take a 3 to 5 mile radius of the location of your gym and whatever that population density is in that gym, in that radius, you're going to be able to attract roughly 20% of the population as gym members.
Mm,
So if you have 100,000 people in a 5 mile radius of your gym and you can attract 20%, that means 20,000 people are going to be interested in a gym membership, right?
mm,
Well, Planet Fitness took 14,000 of the 20,000.
mm.
That leaves you 6,000 to be spread across all the other brands that are in the area, right? The Anytimes, the
Yeah.
Orange Theories, the F45s, the YMCAs. So Planet Fitness was a workhorse back in the day because they were promoting their 999
Mm,
and it appealed to everybody because back then, not a lot of people, I think, were as serious to
mm,
working out as they are compared today post COVID. And that's why you're seeing a shift. You're
yeah.
seeing a shift in the gym industry because now more people are interested in the more experienced type gyms, the gyms that look cool, got great lighting, got great equipment, are appealing for your social media brand. And Planet is actually starting to lose the foothold from what they were. And that's why you're now seeing Planet Fitness start to renovate and rebrand their image. And they're starting to add more free weights. They're starting to add squat platforms. I mean, you figure before, like Planet didn't have any of that stuff.
No.
Like they were only machines and Smith machines. That's it. And their dumbbells only went up to like 60 pounds. Now their dumbbells go up to 120. Now they've got squat racks with platforms with Olympic weights. Now they're starting to add cable machines and they're starting to add free weights. So they realized that the industry itself has shifted and they needed to pivot to be able to attract the clientele, which is going to be interesting because their whole brand was for the basically the inexperienced fitness person, to try and uh, get them into the gym.
Yeah.
And now these brands are going the completely other way. I mean, there's a brand right now that's in Texas. It's called Absolute Recomp. It's these gyms are beautiful, beautiful gyms. And they're dumping some big dollars into these gyms. The lighting is insane. The colors are insane. It just looks cool. And they're charging on average $70 a month, right?
Mhm.
So you
Yeah.
got Planet who's averaging $15 a month, but you got more people going to this new style gym paying
Mm,
70 because they want the experience. They want all of the cool, fancy equipment. They want the atmosphere where they can take badass pictures for their social media profile.
yeah.
So the market is definitely shifted drastically since COVID, and it's very interesting to see.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. And that makes so much sense with just the explosion of influencers, you
Yep,
know? That's
exactly. Yeah.
accommodation to the experience. So that's how you break through right there.
Yeah. So I think you're going to see usually everything happens in 10-year cycles. So I think this is going to be a 10-year cycle of these type of gyms are going to start getting really popular and we'll see what the next 10 years holds. I mean, it's the same thing with the boutique style gyms, like
Yeah. Mhm.
Orange Theory and F45 were really, really popular, right? They were blowing
Yeah.
up. And now they're not as popular as they used to be. In fact, Orange Theory during COVID, they were hurting really bad.
Yeah.
What I understand. They were having a hard time maintaining and growing memberships. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Hmm. The ever-changing environment of entrepreneurship, what it's really like, right? Sometimes it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but
No, it's not. And that's why the bigger you get, the harder it is because it's harder for you to move this massive ship
uh,
and repivot. So that's
yeah.
why smaller guys, uh, it's easy. You
Mm,
can adjust your procedures, your operations pretty rapidly, but the
yeah.
bigger you get, the harder it is, right? Because you've got more lines of operations, more lines of management, more people that's got to be retrained. And so it's it's a hard thing to do. I mean, it could be done, but it's just a hard thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm curious then, with that and seeing that you were able to, what were some of from a marketing and sales standpoint and promotion standpoint, what were some of the things that you did to really pivot and then take an advance into that rather than just kind of hoping, you know?
This is another learning lesson I had post COVID. I really thought that this style gym would do well. And I'm not saying it's not doing well, but I'm saying if you look at my membership base post COVID or pre-COVID versus post-COVID, we have not grown at all, even post renovation, which I was really hoping that post renovation we'd be able to attract more people to the gym. So I think this gets back to you got to really know your market and your demographic of your market because, like I was just mentioning, that absolute recomp down in Texas.
Yeah.
I think Texas especially in the market that they're in, because they're in the DFW market. People in those markets, number one, it's denser. There's more people per
Mm,
square mile.
yeah.
Number two, I think there's more people, more younger people that are more interested in working out. And
Mm,
number three, I think that the warmer climate areas are more prone to attract fitness people compared to in Chicago, where
yeah.
it's cold for half the year. Most of the time they want to stay indoors. Whereas down south, more people are in swimsuits or whatever, and they want to look good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to know your market, you got to
Mm.
know your demographic, and you got to know how to market to that style demographic.
So powerful, man. So powerful. I've learned from experience, most businesses really don't ever focus on that stuff.
Yeah,
Right? Man, that's always the first thought, first step. Who is that perfect person that you want filling your business? Right?
right,
Who do you want to
right,
do business with? Once you
right.
know that and know the market, that's a key thing too. Not just the customer, but the market space, that's very, very powerful, very impactful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Understanding, being able to foresee that, foresee kind of what's happening, how it's moving, like the
Mhm.
ocean, where the tides are shifting.
Yep.
Very, very cool, very cool. So, how'd you learn that? How'd you learn to look for that? Was it something that your family instilled in you, or was it something that you
Nope.
just picked up?
Nope. Everything I've learned has just been through trial and error. I mean,
Thing.
when I worked for my father, I learned a lot in terms of banking and insurance and accounting and bonding, but a lot of that didn't really apply to my business. I'm not saying not all of it, but some of it doesn't apply to my business.
Mhm.
I mean, for example, marketing, right? Like my father owned a construction company. They were very niche. They didn't need to worry about marketing on social media, right? Their clients that they're going after are not sitting on social media.
Mm.
My clients for gyms are. And so it was kind of a crash course in marketing. And so it's trial and error, man. I mean, when I first started the gyms, I would be sending out 50,000 mailer pieces. This is before social media got really popular with their ads and their algorithms. I'd be sending out 50,000 mailers every single month to try and attract customers.
Mm.
And that is not cheap. Keep this in
No.
mind. This is like 50,000 mailers back then were 35 cents a piece. So I'm spending 15 to 18 grand a month
Mm.
just in mailers, right? And I'm only charging $10 a month. So think of how many memberships I got to do to try and just recoup my cost of the mailers every month. When it comes to digital marketing, we spend a fraction of that. We probably spend like maybe 20 to 30% of that in marketing.
Really?
If we were spending 15 to $18,000 a month in digital marketing, like we would just be throwing money out the window because after a while your ads just they don't even get served,
Yeah.
or your lead cost goes through the roof. So there's a science behind that as well. And it's like that's a whole nother thing is it's like, okay, not only you got to figure out how much you got to spend, but what does the ad got to look like?
Mm.
What's the content? What's the copy? What's the call to action? What is attracting people? Is it zero to join? Is it dollar to join? Is it join and bring all of your friends for free? I don't know. Like it's just like you got to figure all of that stuff out. It's just all trial and error.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Trial and error. So then you're studying data,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What do you look for?
Um,
What are some of the key numbers that you look for?
Probably my lead cost, price per lead, price per conversion are two main ones, and then my conversion ratio. So of my total spend, how many are actually converting to paying customers? And I think that's pretty standard amongst
Mm.
all businesses that are advertising digitally. Not even digitally, just regularly, like just any type of advertising. You want to know what's your price per lead, what's your price per customer, and what's your conversion ratio. So those three main metrics, I think, is what you really want to look at. And then you got to understand how does that stack up against the competition, or not even the competition, but against like businesses, right? So if you're a pizza parlor, right? How many, like, what is the industry standard when it comes to cost per lead or cost per customer, all of that stuff. So if
Yeah,
you're a new pizza place that's opening in the area, you know, you got to do some type of advertising to be able to know to attract customers to your business and
mm,
offer them something to get to come in. And so you need to be looking at those things.
absolutely.
So yeah, I'm pretty OCD about my numbers. I look at my numbers at a minimum on a weekly basis, if not more.
Love
So
it.
yeah,
Love it. That's the truest test. I always like to turn myself into a science experiment. I geek out on numbers too. So I have
yeah, I love
back.
numbers, man.
Yeah, right, right. But I have books and books and books, journals and journals and journals of like different workout programs, different like tracking so many different things, you know. So being the more you the biggest thing that I've learned from that, and I'm sure you can attest, the more you look at something, the faster it changes. You know, you're bringing things into your awareness, into your space where then you can control it,
At the
right?
same time, you don't want to have paralysis by analysis, right?
Mm, yeah.
So it's a balancing act. You don't want to spend too much time analyzing all those numbers that you're afraid to make a decision
Yeah.
or afraid to make a change. You have to be able to pivot and pivot quickly because money loves speed. So you have to be able to move quickly.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Oh, that's so good. Money loves speed, man. Yeah, and within a year, being able to turn the gym around like that, speed is the name of the game, right?
So when I took over the gyms, I think back then I want to say like the average price of a membership was 35 bucks a month.
Mm,
And now keep this in mind. It was $35 a month, but Planet was 10, right? So we were more than three times the cost of Planet. And we were a gym that was already like, 15 years old, where you've got these brand new facilities that are being built charging 10. Now, the difference is that, we had amenities that Planet didn't have. We had childcare, we had group classes, we had true 24-hour access. But that still was not enough back then to get people to move away from Planet. So
mm,
I had to adjust my pricing. So my pricing went from 35 on average to we went to two tiers. Our basic started at 19.99 and our VIP was at 29.99. Okay. And so I can remember we redid the pricing the first month I took over the gyms and we did a massive mailer, sent out like 50,000 pieces, even did an ad in the newspapers, all of that. And we didn't like our sales were just terrible. They were just
mm,
absolutely terrible. I had put those mailers on my credit card, and I think it took me like 2 years to pay the credit card off because we did not sell anything with those memberships.
huh,
So the franchise had me, because I was a World Gym franchisee, the franchise had me go and spend a couple of days with an operator, a World Gym operator up in Canada. And he had, at the time, I want to say he had, oh God, I want to say like 6 or 7 locations. But I mean, he was an amazing operator. Like he grew up in the industry. His parents had started the gym and then he took the gym and scaled it. I mean, he was a great operator. And so he was looking at my numbers and he's like, well, what's your membership tiers at? And I said 19.99 and 29.99. He's like, well, how close is a Planet Fitness? And I said, like literally right down the road, you
mm,
know, just like a couple miles away. And he's like, well, you need to change your pricing tomorrow. Like you need to go to 9.99, like immediately.
mm,
And I was like, man, I just redid the pricing already, and I'm worried I'm not going to sell enough memberships to be able to pay for my overhead. He's like, I don't care. He's like, you got to do it. He's like, you cannot compete against Planet Fitness. Your
mm,
model cannot compete against Planet Fitness right now. He's like, you need to change your pricing. So I went back,
mm.
redid all my marketing, changed my pricing. We sold 1,000 memberships that month after changing my pricing. After doing that, that saved the business because I had enough revenue coming in to start paying the overhead. Because remember, I had to cash in my IRA to keep the business afloat. And so had I not changed my pricing to 9.99 and sold all those memberships, I probably would have been filing bankruptcy. I mean, thank God he was looking over me because I sold all those memberships and we grew our draft to be able to start paying our bills and whatnot. So it was it was tough, but that comes back to you got to be able to pivot fast and make those quick decisions and whatnot. So
Yeah, yeah. So I'm fascinated with that. What was just getting into your mind on that, if you're cool with that, what was when you were going through that hardship, that challenge, where you had no idea what that next step was going to look like, or maybe like just humor me on that. What was your, I guess, what were you telling yourself? What was the thing that was pushing you forward? Was it just a I can't fail, or was it something else?
I think it was a paradigm shift for me because it forced me to think positive. Because if I sat there and I worried about everything that went wrong, it would go wrong. So I had to shift my mindset to be like, this is going to work and it's going to change the game. And it did. And so I think after that is when I started looking more at the positive in things rather than the negative, because it's very, very easy to look at the negative when shit goes wrong. So I think it takes you've got to mature mentally a little bit to be able to look past the negative. Because the other thing too is like, who wants a leader that's negative, right? If I would have came back from Canada and been like, guys, like we're screwed, this is it, I'm doing one last shot, and if this doesn't work, I don't know, I'm gonna have to file bankruptcy. Like, that just does not project a good leadership or attitude for everyone that's working for you. I just came back and I'm like, look, we're pivoting. I'm changing the price into 9.99. I go, we'll be fine. This is going to change it's going to change the game for us. And when this happens, we're going to start bringing in new equipment and blah 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 blah. So it was. I think that was part of it. I think it was like you had to make a decision to not be so negative about things and try and look at the positive and what can come out of it.
I love that wisdom, man. So many people, especially in my generation and the generations after me, I'm a millennial. So many people, like it's you say that and you say it so nonchalantly almost. It's just what I had to do. So many people really don't understand that or don't even like see that way. They feel like it's just making that subtle shift. They see it as this massive mountain, right?
Yeah.
Man, and I feel like there's many, many factors to that, I'm not gonna get into all that. We could talk for hours, I'm sure, about all that
Mhm.
stuff. But
Mhm.
but man, being able to see see adversity, see something like that, and have courage and stand and face it and be able to take that next step.
Yeah.
That is a most important fundamental skill, right? I would say, right? It's being able to do that. Not very many people can do that. Just naturally. Would
You
you,
know,
would
I I
you,
I think that's a very small, I don't even know how to word it. Like, I think it's a very small example of what should be done. Recently, I was listening to this video about Elon Musk when he took over Twitter. And, you know, he knows and everyone knows that he way overpaid for Twitter, right? Like to the magnitude of like probably 4x. And he's been quoted as saying like, I didn't care what it cost. It needed to be done to save freedom of speech. And so one of his, I don't know, like business partners or manager, something like that, was telling a story of how when he first took over Twitter, they had three different server farms for Twitter for redundancy. And, Elon knows programming and computers and stuff, right? I mean, that's how he made his first millions. And he said, well, we don't need that many. We could get away with just one. And so all of the engineers there were like, no, we need them, blah, 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 blah. And this guy was telling the story of where Elon initially was like, okay, well, you have 6 months to get them down from three to one. And the guys kept arguing with him. And he said, well, now you have 6 weeks. You now have 6 weeks to move this thing from 3 to 1 server farms. And the guy was saying, everyone knows to be able to go from a 3 to 1 server farm takes months. And Elon left that meeting and told those guys they now have 6 weeks to make this happen. And he was flying back to Texas to SpaceX, I believe it was, or Tesla. And he had his brother in the plane with him. And his brother said, you know, we could, it was Christmas Eve too. We could, we could totally do this ourselves. And Elon's like, let's do it. Turn the plane around. And within like 48 hours, had all of those server farms turned down to 1 server farm. So think about that. Like, not only did he just prove those engineers wrong,
Yeah.
but he also told everybody, like, it can be done. It's
Mhm.
just, what are you willing to do? And it
Yeah.
also said, I'm not putting up with anyone's BS,
Yeah.
right? To
Amen.
me, like, that's awesome.
That is powerful, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Doing it. Just no excuses, just
Nope.
understanding
Got to
what needs
do
to
it.
be done. Just do
Yeah.
it.
Just
Just
do
do
it.
it. Just
Yeah.
do it. That's it, man. I know being a bodybuilder, that was the only thing that got you to those top like three spots, because so everybody's doing the same thing. And then it becomes how you do that thing and how well your intention is on it, how strong your intention is on it. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's
Yeah.
so good. Well, awesome, Bo. Well, I appreciate the stories, man. These are great
Yeah,
wisdom that you
man.
shared. I wanna ask, how can people find you? Where can we find you?
Probably Instagram is probably the easiest thing. And I've got all my links on there. So you could always reach out via Instagram.
Wonderful. Awesome. Okay. Awesome, man. So you guys are in the Northwestern Indiana area. You guys want to check out an amazing gym, come to Grit. Come check out everything that Bo has built here and renovated and improved. It truly is incredible. But thank you
Thanks, man.
again, Bo. I appreciate your time today, man. I appreciate your wisdom. You've truly helped open my mind to new things, just to see in the world a little bit differently. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Until next time.